and welcome to the CFMU 93.3 FM radio show and podcast, The Coolest Journey, where my guests and I explore the intersections of health and environment through reflections, tips, and tools for everyday living so we can all improve our lives. I'm your host, Caelin. My guest today is extremely special and close to my heart. She's one of our nieces on my husband's side of the family. We've watched her grow into a smart, kind, and uber talented young woman through the years, and she's now at UBC in Vancouver with 1 year left in her environmental engineering program. She'll come back to the coolest journey later this year to talk about her studies and the environment, but today, Caelin Estrabillo is here to share a very special part of her journey, her involvement with performance, music, and breathing, and how it all culminated a few weeks ago when her UBC-based Eh Cappella group competed in a world-renowned competition in New York City. Not only will she share some stories from along the way, she'll also guide us through a few vocal and breathwork exercises that will help keep our voices toned and centered and add a little fun to our day. Whether you sing for fun, in karaoke, in an a cappella group, or even in your shower, or maybe you just want to breathe a little better, this conversation is for you. Caelin, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Well, it's been a while that I've been wanting to chat with you on my podcast because, and we could have gone many different ways with
For
this
sure.
interview, but we're going to stick to the voice and
Mhm.
performance today. And Caelin, I have to mention to everyone that we met when you were born, but in Hamilton, Ontario, right? And we moved here, Adora and I moved to Vancouver in May 2021. And then you moved here about 3 years ago to go to UBC, right?
Yes, I think it was 2022 is when I started my first year.
Okay.
So
And
it's
now
been
you
a while.
still, yeah, it's been a little while, and we've been blessed with having you around Vancouver area. So we've been getting closer as well. So it's been fun. And we've also had the pleasure of seeing you perform with your a cappella group. And
Mhm.
just so that people get a bit of an idea, tell us what is a cappella?
What is a cappella? So, if anyone knows the movie Pitch Perfect, it's basically that. So, it's just a group of people who love music, who love singing, who love performing. They come together, they learn a piece that normally for us with the UBC A Cappella Club, um, the arrangements are created by students. The a cappella groups are led by students who are called the musical directors or the MDs. Um, and you spend really your year in university, so from September to April, um, learning these pieces and performing them at the end of term. And for me, initially I started off in the general groups, so that's kind of more for fun, and you're there. At least for me, I was there to meet new people as well. But this past September, I joined the ICCA group, which is the competitive a cappella team. One of them at UBC, like you said, so a cappella, and that yeah, that involves singing and dancing at the same time. So you learn choreography and then you compete internationally as well.
So that's really like the Pitch Perfect movie. I mean, I think many of us have seen it, and
that's
it's a
that's where more the dancing is involved. I know some of the general groups we had a lot of fun too making little choreography, but at least for the competitive groups, you are assessed on your vocals as well as visuals.
right, right. Now, that was a cappella here at UBC, but did you used to sing before you got here?
I did. So I was very much an arts kid growing up. I was fortunate enough to be exposed to many different activities. So whether that was kind of extracurricular or through school, I know, especially throughout my schooling, we were really encouraged to cultivate our musicality and theater. So I started off, I think, mainly doing theater and musicals, and I kind of really got hooked on that. And then um, I had asked my parents, like, oh, could I do like voice lessons, or I did this kind of like triple threat camp. So that was the singing, acting, dancing. So then from there, I was also classically and musical theater trained.
Right. And you also played the violin because we've heard you play before.
Yes, yeah, violin, and then a teeny bit of guitar, maybe a little bit of ukulele. Piano was maybe lasted a couple months.
And then
That
stick
didn't
with you.
really take off with my small hands.
Yeah, you have to have the I call it the wingspan, but it's the hand span, right? To go
Mm,
from C to C, at least so that you can do an octave.
exactly. I'm like, my hands are cramping when I'm trying to reach something. So maybe that's not the
Yeah,
instrument for me.
not the best instrument. It's like some singers say, well, I would love to sing the blues, but I don't have a blues voice, right? So it's a kind of the same
For
thing. You'd love
sure.
to play the piano, but you don't necessarily have the right tools, which are the hands to play.
Mhm.
But in terms of the singing, so you do these triple threat camps and then you do the singing. Now you end up in an a cappella group. Before it became competitive, before you started with the competitive group, that's better said. When you were just doing it for fun, did it have a bit of a, I don't want to say hierarchy, it's not the right term, but a certain organization? I know that usually you're separated according to your voice type. Maybe you can walk us through that too.
Oh,
Like
okay.
who's an alto and how do you determine that?
For sure. So, right in the audition process, for getting into any of these groups, you are often told to kind of pick a song of your choosing to kind of show off your voice stylistically, range wise. And from then, the MDs, the musical directors, they're quite knowledgeable about where you fit based on who's in the group and based on um, your range. So for me, I kind of already knew I was more of I had a soprano voice, so kind of in the higher notes. And then if you're like kind of lower, like female identifying, but lower range, you're likely an alto. And then there's tenors, so that's I think yeah, there's tenors, and then there's baritones, and then basses are the lowest. And then for a cappella, since there's no backing track and no um, like karaoke kind of music on top of us, there's also the VP, which is the vocal percussionist, and
Is
they're
that what
really cool.
Yeah,
They
so those VPs, I mean, I've been calling them the beatboxes, but is that the correct term? Is it more the VP?
VP, yes, is the I guess that's what we call them. But basically, yeah, they're beatboxers. They do the like the kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, really good, like very talented people who can do that. If you want to look more about breath management, like I'm not someone who can speak on it, but that is definitely something that they have to refine in their craft of becoming a vocal percussionist.
Actually, the one who was doing the beatboxing or the VP in your latest group, I think you
Mhm.
mentioned to me, and this VP was a woman, or I think, right? It's so
Mhm.
female identifying. And she taught herself how to do beatboxing during COVID. Was that her or someone
Yes,
else?
I'm pretty sure that yes. Her name's Janice. Shout out Janice. Yes, I'm pretty sure she learned during COVID, which is amazing because you have to keep time, you have to keep everyone in time. So just your inner metronome that needs to kind of be going constantly, and then yeah, she's awesome.
because it's her inner metronome not being influenced by whatever else could be going that is not necessarily on beat, could be syncopated beat
Yeah,
or whatever is happening with the singing. Different, and you were talking to us about the sopranos, the altos, the tenors, the bass, the
baritone.
baritone, right? So these are all people in the group. They're all singing different things and could be on different beats, but she's, or the VP would be the one keeping that underlying beat going.
Correct.
That's
Yeah.
that's hard.
It's a big responsibility, especially for the competitive teams, because for our sets, we're limited to 10 minutes. And if we go over that 10-minute time, uh, at least in the competitions that we do, the consequence is you dropping a place. So that could mean a whole different thing. If you're in semifinals, you were placed first, get dropped down to second. That means you can't go to finals in New York City. So that's also something that you have to take into consideration too, is making sure throughout your whole set you're in time, so you also stay in that 10-minute time limit.
Actually, on that point, so beats per minute. So most songs, most people would know that the songs are between, let's say, 90 and 120 beats per minute. That's usually the popular songs range.
Mm-hmm.
When you do your sets, you have different beats for the songs, right? Like you might have a song at 90, another song at 120, another one at 110.
For sure.
So how does she keep track?
Honestly, I don't know if I could give a good answer. I think internally she just has a very good sense of time. But also we do spend, at least for these competitive groups, we spend 8 months, or maybe like at least 4 or 5 months before our first competition, drilling these songs and this set. For us, we had, towards the end of it, we were doing at least 10 hours a week of rehearsals. Um, so even for us, the ensemble, the soloists who aren't keeping time as much as the VP is, we we know it because we've drilled it so much. Like, okay, this is the part where we have to slow down. And a big part of acapella too is just listening to the people around you. Um, it's kind of you kind of get in that hive mindset um,
Mm.
of just listening to each other and knowing when the important moments are, where we have to yeah, just keep in time and do all these like stylistic things.
So when you started to sing a cappella, was it at UBC that you had your first experience of doing a cappella, or had you done it before with other groups?
UBC was my first time.
And then what made you change from your regular fun group to the competitive group?
Well, for my first 2 years of university, I did the general group, um, and it was amazing. I love the people that I met there, and it was a good challenge because the arrangements were so well written, and you still did have a big time commitment. But then in third year, I kind of wanted to take a step back just to explore what UBC had to offer in terms of just other clubs, or kind of focus more on my schooling. So I did take a step back. And then um, in my fourth year, so last year, um, it was more just let me try auditioning for this competitive team, because my course load too was a bit more reduced. So I had
Okay.
the flexibility and time. Like if I tried joining an ICCA group back in my first year, that would have been disastrous. I think it was already, engineering is hard enough in first year. I think that would have been too much. Even being in a general group in first year, I was able to get through it because for me, acapella was kind of my outlet, like my creative outlet of um, all of the engineering aspects of school. Um, but yeah, it was probably better. I just thought it was a good challenge for me at that time to just try it out and see. If I didn't get it, that's okay. If I did, cool, it's a new experience.
That was actually going to be one of my questions as well. How did you manage to have your time, I guess, manage your time? How did you manage your time between the group practices, and then I'm sure you were practicing on your own, and then the heavy coursework that is engineering? Because I'm assuming you had labs and you had your courses, your coursework, and then you had your group work. That's
For
quite
sure.
a heavy load. Yeah.
It is. And I mean, I know for me, I do like staying busy, not obviously to the point of burnout, but um, it was definitely something I was concerned about going into this competitive team, because, you know, if I do something, I want to do it to the best of my ability, especially in a cappella. You're not kind of just relying on yourself to do something. You are part of a group and a team. Um, but I think it was very helpful that I had a reduced course load. Um, and the MDs that I had for a cappella, they were amazing with just saying, if we needed support, talk to us, talk to the group. Like, we're a family here. We help each other out. If you're struggling with something, let's talk about it. Let's try and find a solution. And then also just knowing, because the year before that, when I kind of took a break from a cappella, um, I kind of learned how to better manage my time too. Like, I was in school working two jobs, and then I was doing other extracurriculars. So I think throughout university, I was kind of building that um, skill of time management. And even before, when I was younger, like, it was the same thing in high school, or even in, I mean, long time ago now, but like elementary school, I was a competitive figure skater, and that was hours and hours a week. So I think I kind of already had that mindset of um, knowing how to time manage. And then I think also, because I am a procrastinator, so I think knowing that, okay, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, 6 p.m. we have 3 hour rehearsals. Like, if I have something due that night, it has to get done
Right.
before rehearsal time. So it's more just um, you just didn't have a choice at that point. You just had to kind of get your things done. Um, but yeah, it definitely is it's an up and down roller coaster, I think, with trying to manage that.
It's a learned skill, and then we always learn further. So let me ask you this question. Do you feel that by actually participating in a cappella and having even a tighter schedule with some deadlines, right? Like Monday, Wednesday,
Mhm.
let's say Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, you had these times that you had to commit with your group. Did you find that you were forced? Not just that you had to do your things, but you were forced to stop the procrastination. And it was like a different kind of procrastination. Maybe you were like still cramming in the afternoon, but your things are getting done before the official deadline so that you could go and play, right? It's like earning your playtime.
Exactly.
Is that how you saw it?
For me, that was definitely helpful. Um, yeah, because even like, and also it kind of depends on your professors too. Like, maybe you can just ask for an extension, and um, sometimes they did do that, but for the most part, you kind of just have to take it on upon yourself. Like, this is a club I committed to. I knew going in that it was going to be a challenge, um, but I want to still do well in all aspects of my life. So you kind of just, I don't know, it sounds very harsh, but like, you figure it out. It's These were your decisions, and you know, in the end, things will work out how they work out, and the best you can do is the best you can do.
Mm. Mhm, mhm. Actually, that reminds me that, and we've had a bit of that talk, not in this podcast, but before, when students sign up for being in a varsity team, for example, right? When they're varsity athletes, it's the same thing. They might have a very heavy sports or athletics schedule in addition to their their scholar or their academic studies. And it's all about figuring out how to make it work. And so with time and practice comes, you figure out your little, okay, if I do this, I know because of my personality, this is going to work, right? Like, I'm
For
going
sure.
to know that if I have this thing that's always due on a Tuesday, but I have a practice on Monday night, well, then it's going to be done on Monday afternoon, submitted, and then I can go. I, I think,
Exactly.
yeah, and whether it's university activities or maybe the students are working outside jobs like what you did last year, that's also that time management skill that I'm sure you already had before, but now it's really honed. Now that you're away from home as well, you were in residence, then you lived on your own with,
Right.
well, with other people as well, right? So that it becomes more on you and not necessarily having your parents helping you out in the time management
Exactly.
aspect.
And it definitely is to just communication, especially with your group projects. Um, just I think just being organized and having things planned. And I think too, if when you care enough about something, you do everything you can to make it work. Um, and luckily, like I said, the support within a cappella, and then also like my friends from like in classes and in school and just at UBC, or even like my family and friends. If I just kind of need to call someone and just take a break or go outside, go for a walk, kind of get my mind off of the task, that those breaks do wonders for me. And I
Yeah,
think it is
Tito and
something
Tita
that
helped
people,
out a little bit in that aspect.
yeah, yeah.
And we took you out on a few walks when we could, right?
Mhm.
In the UBC area. Actually, that's one of the advantages as well at UBC. You have the forest, Pacific Spirit Park, right there to
Mhm.
go and walk in, breathe some fresh air and beautiful sights of the old growth trees.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. It's just
Yeah.
remembering too, like one of the big things going into university that I forgot was that there's a world outside of UBC, and
Hmm.
taking those times to be like, you know what, I'm in Vancouver. I There's mountains right there. There's a whole lot of things to see, and still experience. So just yeah, being able to take some breaks and explore that aspect too is really important.
Especially coming from Ontario. Um,
Yes.
the ocean is a whole different beast. And I say beast because really it's got moods. It's a different feeling altogether. And then of course we get the great marine mammals like that gray whale that we had for a few weeks. They got the one that got hit by the jet ski. Like, come on. Anyway, we'll yeah. 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, anyway, got hit by a jet ski, and less than a week later, it left. And now we have a new gray whale that's in, and that's Little Patch. And Little Patch has been coming in, I think, for 20, 30 years regularly in,
Um,
yeah, in English Bay. And it'll be here for the summer, usually. That's
hey,
the schedule that it keeps.
I
Yeah.
want to see them.
Hopefully you'll get to see the gray whale. And then there are more orcas and there are seals everywhere. And sometimes we'll see some sea lions, right? These are not things that you're going to see in Lake Ontario. No matter what kind of sea monsters we think there are, these mammals are just not there.
For
So
sure.
there are eels in Lake Ontario, and there are very big fish, but nothing like a great whale or
Hmm.
humpback whale. We have a humpback whale actually at Lighthouse Park right now that's hanging out there too, feeding.
Wow.
So yeah, yeah. So these are all things that if you stay within your little UBC cocoon, right, you don't get to see. So it's a very good
Exactly.
reminder of there is life outside university for those university students who are
Yes.
listening, right? But it could be a student, or it could just be, a regular family, or like mom, dad, and the kids, and we get into routines so much that sometimes we forget about the beauty that's around us. And
For
part
sure.
of living here in Vancouver is to make sure that we access these beautiful surroundings that we have, whether it's the mountains, the ocean, or something else. So let's get back to a cappella. So you're part of this group. You guys practice hard. Then you go to this competition in San Francisco. Tell us about what it is and
Mhm.
why is it that you even went there?
So basically, for the ICCA competition, so that's the pretty sure this is it, International Collegiate A Cappella competition. I can't remember what the acronym is, but it starts off with quarterfinals in I believe there's 9 different regions spread out across the U.S. and then there's one in the U.K. So we first traveled in late January to Seattle or to Tacoma, Washington, um, where we competed in quarterfinals. So 10 groups were there, and then the first two, like first and second group, they qualify to the semifinals in San Francisco, California. So um, we won quarterfinals, crazy, and then we went and traveled to California about the next couple months after that in
So,
March.
so, so let me ask you a couple of questions for January when you were in Tacoma. So you said that was a bit crazy that you won. What were the expectations going in? I mean, historically, how did a cappella do? And then what were the expectations then set for Tacoma?
Um, so I guess historically speaking, A Cappella has made it to the semifinals. I think the past maybe 8 years, they've been very consistent with qualifying. Usually they come in second place. Um, but I can't, excuse me, I can't remember if this was the first time we won quarterfinals. Um, it was either the first time or the second time. Um, but we got our like best score of 440 points. Um, and for us, so expectations from the outside perspective could have been, oh, like they're a seasoned group, they go to semifinals every year. Internally, a bit of a different story. We had 11 new members. I think,
Oh,
yeah, 11
on
of
how
the
many members in total?
18.
So that's three
That
quarters,
was that was a very
two-thirds
big I don't
turnover.
want to say hurdle, but yes, turnover. And we just had to we just like the blend that, a group with less turnover has, we had to kind of figure that out a bit more. Um and since a lot of us were new, we didn't know what the competition was going to be like. We don't know um what it takes to kind of perform on a stage of that size with that big of an audience, how the competition goes, how they grade us. And I think, again, our MDs did very well with preparing us. Um, and also, yeah, we just kind of had to be each other's support system a little bit more because I don't know, it's a competitive environment. You might not get um, support from everyone. So we at that point we were like, we trust each other, we trust the set, we trust our MDs, and we're just we're just gonna focus on ourselves. I think that was definitely the mentality for quarterfinals.
Right.
Uh,
So basically trying to control the variables that are within your control and
right.
then just let go of the rest.
And the people in our group too. Um, we were a very uh, uh, like resilient team and hardworking group and competitive, I think it's fair to say. So I'm so proud of us. Like we did the work, um, and yeah, it took us to semifinals. So that was in um, yeah, again, California, and that we didn't really have a ton of expectations for that. We're like, oh, we had no expectation of going to finals at all. I think maybe our goal was to place at semifinals, because we're competing against the whole West region, and a lot of what even the ICCA, like some of the producers say, it's West region is very competitive. Some years it's even more competitive than the finals.
Oh, wow.
So it's because you have all the music or all the music schools. You have all the schools from Los Angeles um, and California. So it is a very, very talented pool
I,
of singers.
yeah, on that point, actually, I didn't ask you, but
Mhm.
you mentioned, or it was in one of the interviews that your group did, there was in your group, a cappella, no one in there is a music major, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's amazing. So you don't have any music major in your group. So you show up there in San Francisco for the half semifinals. Uh, you're against other groups that possibly have some music majors in them, right? And from some music schools.
Mhm.
And what happens?
Um, it's, we did well. We placed first place, and then for semifinals, they only take the first or the winner of each semifinals in the 9 different regions to compete in New York City for the ICCA finals. And then how the competition works too, to just I guess spice things up a little bit. They have a wild card, like kind of separate competition. So in all of the regions, those that place second and third can enter themselves into this wild card round, and then I believe they're judged based off of that, and um, one of them is picked to be the 10th competitor at the final.
Ooh, that would be fun to do the hockey series that way as well, but it's not. So I digress. It's just because there's a Stanley Cup going on right now. Okay, so you're in San Francisco, magic happens, you guys are gelling as a team. And I think if I remember correctly, you had also integrated a lot of the feedback that you had gotten from Tacoma into your set, right? Your 10-minute set for San Francisco.
Correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Which
So,
is that was a very beneficial thing from each of the competitions. You do get feedback from each of the judges, and a lot of them say, "Here's my email. Let me know if you want me to expand on any of the comments that I made," because I think they want the groups to do well,
mhm.
and to represent the region well. And that was definitely something that we noticed going from quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. The level of adjudication was very different, and it got much more technical and much more um, precise and refined as we moved up in the competition.
Right.
And especially once we got to finals, that was the first time our group has ever made it. That was the first time a Canadian group from the West Coast has made it. I think we were maybe the second Canadian team to ever make it to finals. So just having that taste of like this is the quality that they're looking for was it really surprised us, and I think it really motivates us for future years too.
So you did competitive ice skating before. Could you compare the different levels of competitions in a cappella with the different levels of competing at national levels for Canada?
I do see that there's similarities with that. Yeah, like I think at least for figure skating, it's less. I guess it's more evident, like your technical performance, because if you land a jump or you don't, um, and there are bits that are um, more focused on technicality, like with musicality or with
The artistic
how
interpretation.
yeah, or
Hmm.
even like with your spins. Like I feel like there was a very tight like format, I guess, for figure skating. Not that ICCA and a cappella didn't have that, but there are a lot of things that you have to think about, like with a cappella. Like one of the biggest one of the biggest things that they looked out for was blend within the group. And if one out of 18 people, someone's mouth shape is a bit wider, that changes the tone of the sound. Or if vowels aren't quite matching up, or if like vowels, tone, even like breathing, or even your stylist. I think one of the big things moving to a competitive group for me that was surprising was just the details that we'd take into, like, okay, on this note, everyone vibratos on the second beat of that note. Whereas I was like, oh, we can kind of you just vibrato whenever you like. If you can vibrato, just kind of do something.
Right.
Or if you're singing, like you go, just like the little scoops and the dips and the inflections that you do with your voice. It's all very planned out.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what helps. That's what contributes to the blend of
Right.
the group.
Right. So I can see how it would be very different for you to compare your ice skating adjudication or the set of criteria against which you were being
Yeah,
judged, right?
yeah.
And what's happening with a cappella or a cappella singing competitions, um, mostly because you've got group aspects in the singing that you don't have as a solo ice skater, unless you're doing the group. I don't know how it's called, the synchronized synchronized ice skating. Uh, then it would be a lot more along the same lines. But in terms of bumping up the level, in terms of they're looking for much deeper and precise elements in the routine or the set. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think you alluded to it. You're talking about, the width of how is the mouth open and how it influences and when do you stick the vibrato. What are other elements that these judges are looking for?
I think some of the big ones were just blend, pitch, rhythmic accuracy. So just staying in time with each other. Um, then there were also just like solo interpretation. So how the soloist is interpreting the arrangement and the song and the music, and how that's showing in your choreography, um, how aligned everyone is during the choreography, how creative it is, because a lot of these judges, some of them judge for years and years of acapella, like they've seen
They've seen
a
it all.
lot of sets. So how different are you? How and a lot of acapella too is just what some mentors have told us. It's the most important people is the audience. You're performing for the audience, and then I'm gonna get this mixed up. It's you perform for the audience, and then like you perform for yourself. Like the audience comes first in these, and you want to make sure they have a good time. Like this is you may have been running this set for 7 months, but this is the first time these people might be seeing your set, and you just have to do like perform it as if um, it's your first time performing and you're having the same amount of fun. And um, yeah, yeah, same amount of fun for each take.
Mm-hmm. So San Francisco, your group ends up winning. Now you get your tickets for New York.
Mhm.
We saw one of your practices. I think it was before San Francisco. I don't think you had a practice that we went to between San Francisco and New York. When you get to New York, walk us through what happens in New York. So
So
actually, first of all, it was your first time in New York City, right?
for a lot of us, yes. Um, so I mean, a lot of we aim to get everyone there at least by the Friday, because Saturday was the big day. Um, and for us, and this is why I love my group too. We're able to hang out with each other outside of a cappella. Like we were exploring in all 3 cities that we visited, we were able to just explore and just go to what did we do on the first day? We did the Staten Island Ferry to see the Statue of Liberty. We saw the 9/11 memorial. Like we did all of these, just traveling with your friends in a new place. So that was kind of all Friday. We did do a little bit of rehearsing, just to lock in, and then early night Saturday we get to the venue, and it was a beautiful, very historic venue. Um, I think they said like Billie Holiday performed there,
Ooh.
Strauss performed there. Like it's a very old building, so even just being in there, you can feel that it was different. And we got to meet all of the groups, and a lot of them too were like, wow, we know you from, I don't know, social media or something. We're kind of each other's fans. We're like, wow, we're all in this room, um, and you're kind of just trying to talk to as many people as you can. And then um, there was a group song that we all learned
Mhm.
for, I guess, the end of the competition. So we practiced that, and then we also like did a little bit of choreography for that. Nothing big because there's a lot of us on that stage. But yeah, we got to do that, and then we went into sound check. So the order of the performance was, or the order of the competition was decided, and then from there, you had each group sound check, and then that kind of gives you a bit of time before the show actually starts. So for our group, we took that time to get ready, go get lunch all together, um,
Mhm.
and then kind of do our warm ups before. And then you
And
compete, and it's 10 minutes, and it goes by incredibly fast. And you're trying to soak in everything, um,
mm,
like the atmosphere and the audience. And this is your last time performing with this set with this group of people, but also you're trying to stay focused on the music and the storytelling of the set. And then it's over, and then uh, you watch the rest of the competition because each group is amazing. You're basically getting um, a
for
free show
show.
of the best a cappella in,
In the
yeah,
world, really.
I guess, yeah, in the world. But um,
I mean, I guess
well,
technically
US
it's,
and then
yeah,
you.
North America and more specifically the US. And that one team from the UK, did they manage to qualify for New York? They did. So
Yeah, there was the UK team, or yeah, one of the UK teams. They came second place. They were so fun to watch, and it's also just really nice to see um, how each group interprets songs differently. So, some groups took the approach of, we want our set to be about nature and how it outlasts everything, and it will come back after. Like there's each group really tries putting a message into it. Like one was kind of about a money heist, and each of the songs kind of was about that storyline. Like for us, it was going through a breakup and then finding um, yourself again and finding hope in the next day and
Mm.
tomorrow. And
Oh my goodness,
um,
I just like clued in. Your last song was Annie Tomorrow,
tomorrow.
right? Yeah, yeah, I just clued in. That's what it was, your theme. Oh my
Mhm.
goodness. Okay.
And that's like the beauty of a cappella, and really just any like creative outlet, like musicals, plays, and you're just trying to share the human experience a little bit better, and um, trying to relate to the audience and unify um, those feelings and experiences that a lot of people have, and just saying, you're not alone in this. This is how we interpret it, and maybe it would help you um, overcome whatever challenges that you have.
Hmm. So that's a pretty cool journey. So how did New York City end up for you for the competition and the visit of the city?
So for the competition, we actually don't know
Oh,
um,
you still
what
don't
place
know.
we came. Well, so they announce first, second, third, and fourth, but whenever like all the places after that, how you turn up, you don't know. So we were kind
Okay.
of we didn't know, um, but we honestly we still had such a fun time, and the next day, and people were able to stay a bit longer after the competition. We explored the Met. We went to Central Park or MoMA, and yeah, it was a really really fun trip, and we're just so grateful to have gone. We're just so grateful to be there.
Right. Now, what do you think is there a specific moment from that whole experience that you're going to carry with you forever?
Oh, I think there's a lot. I think the one that kind of really will stick with me, and it has all like I kind of bring it up when people ask me about it. Um, is that final note when we're all on stage and we're singing to the audience. And I mean, the arrangement itself, it's a very full sounding ending. So that kind of helped with the grandeur of it. Um, but just kind of singing that and seeing the audience, like there were, since we were the only Canadian team, there were we saw people in the audience holding Canada flags or like a little image on their phone of the Canadian flag.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
and it was just really special, and just having the lights there and knowing this this was what we worked for.
Hmm.
Um, and then it's finally coming to a close. Like that was it was bittersweet, but it's also yeah, it was also a very special moment. Just being there with 17 friends, friends for probably life. I'm hoping probably life. Um, and yeah, and then just hearing the applause after. I know after too, um, really kind of any time we performed our set, there would be at least one person coming up saying, "I cried." Like it
Oh,
really touches people's hearts, and I think that's the best feedback that we could get.
well, perhaps not people crying, but definitely touching people's hearts.
Yeah. We don't want you crying all the time.
I'd just like to move the conversation around breath connection. So we've talked a lot about the singing and the a cappella singing itself and how you did it as a group. Most of us don't think about breathing until something goes wrong with it. Like we lose our voice or we have shortness of breath because we have some type of infection, and then life seems to stop because we can't breathe properly.
Mhm.
Um, did you have to learn your own breath to sing the way that you do?
Yes, breath control is definitely something that we have to be mindful of, especially when you're doing choreography, especially when the adrenaline takes over and you find that your mouth is so dry you can't even make a noise.
Right,
um,
keep drinking, right?
yeah,
I'm
exactly. So
I'm
just
showing my mug of water here.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Here, it's very much taking care of your body first and foremost, but then also just some of the breathing techniques that um, we did, because some of the phrases you have to hold for a long time. So I guess that's also
Yeah.
the part of the rehearsing, was knowing when to breathe. Like at this bar in this space, this is where you breathe. Um, or we call it staggered breathing, which is because you don't want you're singing, everyone's singing something, everyone takes a collective breath. Maybe that's one of the choices for the arrangement, but sometimes you don't want it to sound like anyone's breathing in this held note. Um, so a lot of, at least the breathing for a cappella, uh, was calculated and no like kind of assigned.
Mhm.
Um,
So that
but
means
then
that you have to learn to take in enough air and expel it in a certain way that you're going to be okay up until the next break.
Correct. Yes. And
And
also being able
everyone
to.
in the group does it too. So everyone
Yes.
has the same, well, everyone per group, right? Like maybe the altos are breathing a certain way and the sopranos in another
Mhm.
way, but those breaks are, as you said, predetermined.
And the
That's
breath control too of how much volume you let out in your breath. So we did a few breathing exercises of just kind of like box breathing or
mhm.
kind of building your stamina too of breathing in for like maybe 16 counts sometimes and like holding it, breathing out, kind of that same box breathing but just with different counts.
Right, right. So for those who are listening and don't quite understand what box breathing is, usually they do it on four. So four, inhale for four, hold for four, exhale for four, hold for four. But you can play with the timing, like you were just saying, especially for those of us who are a bit more trained for breath work. Four may seem a little short. And it's got a certain purpose. I'm assuming if you're within a song for you as a singer, or if I'm in the water for me, I might have to do a short breath because I'm getting water in my
Mm-hmm.
face and I only have that little capacity to take in that small breath. And maybe I just hold it and then I'll change my pattern so I can breathe on the other side and faster, as opposed to every three. Maybe I'll take another breath every two for a little bit. But
Mm-hmm.
for the box breathing, so every four, every five, every six, but you guys are doing it on 16. So
I
inhale for 16, hold for 16, exhale for 16, and hold for 16.
I think it was at least inhaling, exhaling 16. I think for holding, I don't think we held it all the way 16. But we did, it was very much, we just kind of played around with it. Um,
And just because I've taught the box breathing before, the holding when after the inhale is not so complicated. It's the holding once you've exhaled
yes.
that's more of a challenge, right? So you're out of air and then you have to hold that. So maybe if people want to tip on this, you exhale but not fully. So you still keep some air in your lungs so that you can hold for whatever time that is. Now, please, people, if you're going to try this at home, start low, go slow, right? So start at four and see how it goes, but always keep a little bit of air left in your lungs so that you can hold it at the bottom. Because otherwise, yeah, that's pretty hard. For the 16, you would inhale on 16, maybe 10 for the hold, exhale 16, and maybe 4 or 5
Mhm.
hold at the bottom.
Yeah, and it's something too that when you talk about health and breathing, that was definitely something, even kind of like for your mental health too. If you're feeling stressed out in a situation, sometimes I feel my heartbeat going faster than it should be. I just kind of close my eyes, take a minute, just do some box breathing, or just maybe just even just remembering to breathe. Just breathe
Right.
in through your nose, breathe out through your mouth. Um, yeah, it does just
The
putting that oxygen into your brain.
Yeah, the physiological side helps a lot with calming down the nervous system. That's an instant activator of oh my goodness, I'm like looking for for the parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic one is the fight or flight, which I'm assuming you have to control when you're on stage and you're performing and you're doing all this breath work. You have to control that sympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic is when you're resting, digesting, and it's the relaxing part, which there's no way you can be on if or that's activated if you're on a stage, but you have to find that balance between the two. And so the physiological side, which is to inhale and then an exhale, so it would be like inhale, inhale, exhale,
Mm-hmm.
inhale,
Right.
inhale, exhale. Oh, right into my mic, sorry about that. um, but that two or three of them is enough to reset the nervous system. So did you do that one at all as an exercise or
We didn't do
just
the two in, one out. Um, but I think I have heard of that one before, and it is very helpful.
Yeah. But like you said, just even thinking about, okay, no, I need to inhale and put some oxygen in my brain
Exactly.
and exhale, that really helps. What are some of the exercises that you've done in terms of either breath work or vocal work that you could share with us?
Well, I guess for the breath work, since those are very planned out breathing, apart from the box breathing, what we really had to kind of learn how to do was breathing in quietly too, because you have a microphone like 2 fingers away from your face if you're an ensemble member. Um, so just learning how to control that. But then, at least for singing too, we just had we had a lot of different variations that we kind of did, but just warming up your range, going from your low register to your high, and then that helps the soprano altos kind of get comfortable, and then
Mhm.
um, go from high to low for the basses, baritones, and like the lower voices to warm them up. Um,
So,
but
so run us through one example of this. Would you be actually doing the scale, or would you be doing arpeggios, or how would you go about it?
we kind of kept it fun. There's a hard one, and then there's maybe an easier one. Which one?
So let's go with the easy one first, so
The
that
easy
people
one.
can
Okay,
try it at home too, right?
sure. So all you do, you can kind of pick whichever note you want to start on, and then you just go hey, and I think those are in fifths, and then you go hey,
Oh yeah, yeah, okay.
go all the way up, and then um, one of the more complicated ones, you kind of do like a tongue twister, or because that also helps with your diction. That's another big thing that they will judge you on is how easily you can uh, sing the lyrics. So you can do what's the one that we do? I just asked them about it and now I'm forgetting. But
Just so people, as you're thinking about a tongue twister, would be like, and I in English, I'm so poor at it, but Peter Piper, blah blah, pickle blah 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 blah, whatever, whatever. This is an
just doing
example of
a
it.
bunch of alliterations.
Yeah.
Um,
Or in French, it would be les serviettes de la duchesse sont-elles sèches ou archi sèches? Un stagiaire sans sachet est-il capable de chasser ce chat assis sur ce châssis?
oh my
These
god.
are examples of tongue twisters in French. In English, I'm always, I don't know. So
Yeah,
you're
you
my
kind of just
expert.
have to if you write it out, you can just kind of read it. But I got the notes now. But it was one of the ones that we would usually do is listen to me articulate every single word I say, articulating, celebrating, escalating once again, and you kind of go
Wow.
up. That was the
Uh,
big one that we
and
did,
then
but
and then you'd go up like from
usually like
C
a
to D.
semitone or something,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then going down. A good one was dim 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 da dim 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 da. That was not done well, but anyways, just go dim dim dims all the way down. Um,
We're not here to judge or rate your capability of doing these exercises. We just want some examples of what we can do. So breath work, some warming up of our voice. So let's say someone who's listening is a teacher or getting ready to do a presentation. These are things that we can all do before going on a stage or in front of a group,
mhm.
right? So
A good one too is it's called sirens. So you just go "Whoa."
okay, the sound kind of cut there, so I'm gonna just like, so basically you start low and you go, whoa, whoa,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. And then another good one is just physically warming up the body. We do like a shakedown of all of your limbs. Start from you count 1 to 8, and then 1 to 7, 1 to 6, and then by the end you're like 1 2 1 2 1 1 1 1.
Yeah, so
Um,
so that's a really important one. We do that one in improv as well.
mhm,
So and you can count up or count down, but basically it's to re-embody. So putting ourselves back into our bodies. So if we have like the worst year ever and we have a gazillion things going on in our head, we need to relive in our body. So maybe we shake the right hand and we start 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we shake the left hand. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're standing doing this. So then we shake the right foot. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then the other foot. And then we go back to the hand, right? The initial hand. And 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. And then so on. And as you said at the end, it's like 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. And it's okay. So now you are fully present and in your body. That's a really, really good exercise to do before a presentation because it really brings everything to the center. So
And it kind of takes
this,
your mind off of
oh, yeah,
it, at least for, the minute that you do it.
yeah. So the siren, how did you call this exercise?
Shakedown.
The shakedown? We had another name for it in improv. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
I feel like there's a lot of iterations of the similar exercises and warm-ups.
Yeah, there's something called a chicken. I can't remember the wild chicken, crazy chicken, or that doesn't ring a bell. Okay, it's okay. People can look it up if they want to, but it's one of the very common exercises done, and it's fabulous. What else? One last one.
That we
Actually,
would do?
yeah,
Mhm.
well, I have a personal question. How do you learn to breathe, to inhale quietly so that it's not in the mic? And I'm asking because I have over 20 years of experience as a voice talent. I read all sorts of things for commercials, narrations, blah, blah, blah. And I have a bit of asthma. So anytime I
Mhm.
inhale, right, it's marked. And I've tried a number of things through the years, and I've worked with a few coaches. It's never worked. So you tell me, how is it that you guys are learning to inhale quietly?
I think, I mean, we weren't really taught any technique for it, but I think just being mindful that you want to take this breath. And normally I take it through my mouth, just more of an open, spacious, like chamber for your breath to go into, instead of,
So you're opening the mouth.
yes, I'm opening more into, I guess, an O shape.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and for me, a lot of the time too, to kind of get it into your muscle memory is doing an action like with your hand, even though it's not doing anything biologically. It's more for your brain, like just kind of lifting your hand when you try to breathe in, or um, and then sometimes for me, if when you're singing, you either think of the note or think just above the note, um, to kind of help you land exactly on there with no breath being heard.
Fascinating. Well, thank you. Thank you, Caelin, for sharing these practical gifts with
Of
me,
course.
but for me in part and for our listeners. And, maybe people can do these in the shower, in their car, and maybe they'll be practicing that before going karaoke singing. Who knows, right? Some competition, friendly competition in the family. That always happens. Now, tell us about the road ahead for you. You've got one more year left at UBC and a whole maybe world of music and environmental engineering work in front of you. Any plans or dreams? Like basically, what's your future like in terms of your
um,
studies and singing?
sure, it's still very muddled, and it's a lot of dreaming, I think, at this stage right now. At least for my final year of university, I just really want to be present and spend that time with my friends. And being in Vancouver, I still don't know if I'm going to move to Vancouver full time after I graduate. But yes, just kind of enjoying that while all these people, that I've grown to love and respect throughout the years, just embracing that time that we have together, because we may not all be in the same place at the same time ever again. Um, I will say, I'm not sure if I think it's fine to say, but I did decide to go back to a cappella for my last year. So I'm really excited to continue that. Just also, it helps my own confidence as a singer and helps to not compartmentalize parts of my life as much as I have in the past. Um, I could be a creative and a school focused person at the same time. Um,
Actually, there's quite a lot of studies that show that a creative and active mind, so whether you're involved with music or anything that's from the arts or athletics, actually helps a person become smarter, so that you can combine that with some, I don't know, studies in engineering, in law, in medicine, and those students are the ones who do best because they're activating their brain in many ways, not just in that one field that they're studying.
mhm.
Yeah. So clearly it's working for you. I am
Thank
thrilled
you.
to hear that you're going to be called, you're going to be with A Cappella again. And just for people who are looking for the group, it's A Cappella, like A.
The Canadian AEH, yes.
And your group is on, Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, I think.
Correct.
Uh, And so this is for the year ahead. So after that, we will see 1 year at a time.
Yes, TBD. I'm hoping to do some maybe traveling, maybe working abroad, because that delays figuring out where live for the rest of my life. So I'm
I would
trying not
say,
to be too concrete.
I would say for the rest of your life, right? We moved here 5 years ago, you know?
Right. That's
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
lots of opportunities, but I'm
yeah.
excited for it.
Yeah, and if you look at the family, actually, many of them moved from the Philippines to Ontario when they had the uncles and the aunties had children already. So, yeah, you never know. There's no decision is forever. Our values may be lasting a lot longer, but the decisions themselves, where we're going to live, it's more flexible, I would say. And one more question for you. The name of the show or the podcast is The Coolest Journey. And I ask every guest some version of the question of when you look back at where you've been and forward to where you're going, the music, the engineering, and the breath as well, and the people that you've been around. What part of your journey so far has felt the coolest to you and why?
Oh, oh man, that's a loaded question. I think, and this is gonna sound so cliche and cringy probably, but I think the coolest part really is just the people I've met along the way. And I think, especially, I guess, too, in this day and age of communication and social media, just being able to maintain a lot of these connections. And I don't know, you go through so many experiences and emotions with people, and really learning about their story. And even if they're only um, passing through your life for a little bit of time, you it's really cool to look back and be like, okay, we did go on this journey together. You helped make me the person I am, and hopefully I did the same to you. Um, and who knows? And again, in this day and age, you're able to still maintain a lot of those connections, and I think that's the cool part about it, is just being able to connect with many different people and listen to their stories, be part of their stories for a little while or for a long while.
And I mean, with this group of people that you've been with the a cappella group, you set a certain goal, which was perform well as a group, and then you ended up going to finals, right? So that's also achieving a goal that might have seemed so far-fetched, and then you all grow together as a group. It's very similar to cold water swimming, where really, I'm never going to be able to do this. And then next thing you know, you're doing it. And the people you do it with, it's just like we have this bond. It's going to last forever just because it's such a crazy thing to go through. And it's the same thing. It was a crazy event to be able to
Yeah.
go to New York. So of course you're going to remember. You said you were 18 in that group, right? Seven, yeah. You and
18.
17 other people. Yeah. So you're going to keep that experience for a very, very long time. So that's great. Well, Caelin, thank you so much for being here today, for your honesty, your warmth, and for sharing part of your journey that so many of us don't usually get to see behind the scenes of an a cappella performance. You've reminded us that the breath that we take for granted every single day is actually one of the most powerful tools that we carry with us for our voice, our health, staying centered in a noisy world. And you've shown us as well that the things that we love don't have to live in separate boxes. Engineering and music, science and art, they can absolutely belong to the same person and the same story. So, to the Coolest Journey listeners, I hope you'll try one of Caelin's exercises this week, whether that's in your car, your kitchen, or yeah, your shower too. That's okay. Notice your breath, find your voice, give yourself permission to make a little fun noise. Caelin will be back on the Coolest Journey later this year, because you will be back to talk
Of
about
course.
your work in environmental engineering. So everyone stay tuned for that conversation. And in the meantime, you can find this episode and all our past episodes on CFMU 93.3 FM and wherever you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. And we'll put the video of our chat up as well. Until next time, I'm Hélène and Caelin. Goodbye.
Bye.
And
Thank you so much.
oh, you're most welcome. Thank you for being such a willing participant and wishing everyone out there health, energy, and the coolest journey of your life. Bye, everyone.